Oh, the captain gives the order to sail the ocean wide, where the sun it never sets, me lads, nor darkness dims the sky. And it's cheer up, me lads, let your hearts never fail, for the bonny ship, the Diamond, goes a-fishing far away. Our captain stood upon the deck, a spyglass in his hand, a viewing of those gallant whales that blew at every stand.
A U.S. naval officer wrote in 1840 that the American whaling fleet was whitening the Pacific with its sail. Ships set out from New Bedford, Nantucket, New London, Sag Harbor, Salem, and a dozen other ports in search of the mighty whale. Whale ships cruised the Pacific for weeks and months at a time. Once a whale was spotted, the crew rowed out to it in longboats, harpooned it, and drew it alongside the ship. On board, they stripped off the blubber and boiled it down to produce the oil that was used to light the lamps of 1,000 U.S. towns. The crews were made up of young, uneducated farm boys and city dwellers, off to see the world and pick up a little money. Their life aboard ship during the 2 or 3 years the voyage lasted was long monotony, interrupted by brief periods of exhausting and dangerous work while they were chasing and cutting up a whale. Discipline was harsh, even brutal at times, while the rewards were very poor.
As I was a-walking down Paradise Street,
Away, way, blow the man down.
a pretty young damsel I chanced for to meet.
Islands like Ponape and Koshrai, with their rich foliage and creviced waterfalls, would have looked like Eden to the crew of a whale ship at anchor for a couple of weeks. But the whale ship must have appeared just as inviting to islanders who greeted the crew from the shore. Boat crews went ashore to fill their casks with fresh water from the streams and cut a supply of firewood. They also purchased fresh island produce as a change from the monotonous shipboard fare of hardtack and salt meat. Yams could be bought for 7 pounds of tobacco, or $1.80 a barrel. Taro, bananas, and other fresh foods could be had for comparable prices. Chickens and pigs were sometimes furnished as well. The whale ship Elizabeth, at anchor off Ponape in 1850, reported,
"Purchased 21 turtles, 400 heads of taro, 30 bunches of bananas, and 2,000 coconuts, all for trade to the value of $40.
The attractions of the trade for island people were great. The men prized metal tools and muskets, not to mention the red calico shirts that were so popular everywhere. Koshrayan women could proudly display their gingham blouses, while Ponapean women favored tight-waisted dresses and printed kerchiefs which they wore around their necks. For everyone there was the allure of tobacco and the clay pipes in which it was smoked.
Sally Brown, she's a bright new ladder.
Way, roll and go.
She drinks rum and chews tobacco.
Spend my money on Sally Brown.
There's an old saying that the whalers wanted three things from the islands at which they called: wood, water, and women. There was a good supply of all three at Pohnpei and Coshrai.
But she would always dilly-dally.
Spend my money on Sally Brown.
The British whale ship Gypsy stood off Pohnpei in March 1841, with 4 other ships lying at anchor. The author of the journal, a surgeon, wrote,
"All the ships have been lying here 2 or 3 weeks, wooding and watering, and giving liberty to their crews on shore. Pigs are scarce and dear. Breadfruit is plentiful, but the most cheap and procurable article is a girl, as many as would stock a 3-tailed Borshaw's harem for a few heads of tobacco." Children, young girls and women crowd aboard the ships, their ages from 9 to 14 or 16 years of age. There are but few with the fully developed signs of womanhood. The whale ship Gypsy, Pohnpei, March 1841.
Venereal disease, or the pox as it was then called, took its toll on Coshrai as well as Pohnpei, disfiguring many of its victims. An officer on a whale ship at Coshrai wrote,
"One day when out cutting ironwood poles, we came to a small village, and the sight of the people in it was perfectly terrible. They were simply eaten up alive with the most loathsome of diseases. The state some of them were in was so sickening that I hurried away into the woods and cursed the white man who had turned loose this horrible thing among these poor helpless people. The sight of those in that village, where they had been put out by themselves to be slowly eaten up by the disease, haunted me for years." Charles W. Morgan, Coshrai, October 1852.
But there was even worse. The ship Inez of New Bedford, in port at Coshrai in January 1848 with 4 other ships, estimated Koshrai's population at 1,500, but reported that people were dying daily of an epidemic. 2 years later, another whaling captain at Coshrai noted in his log, "The population is decreasing through prevalence of colds, consumption, and other diseases." Then, on February 28, 1854, the whale ship Delta put in at Ronkichi, Pohnpei, after suffering an outbreak of smallpox. One seaman who had died of the disease was buried ashore. 2 other men sick with the disease were left on the beach. Both men died soon afterwards. When Pohnpeians took the clothes from the infected men, the disease spread throughout the island. For 5 months, an epidemic raged in Pohnpei, claiming the lives of 4,000 people, nearly half the island's population. The whalers had brought more than metal tools, calico, and tobacco. They brought diseases from across the sea and death.